Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another test-driven JavaScript video. I'm recording this on August 21st, 2012, and we're picking up right where we left off in the last episode. What we were doing is we were writing an integration test to see that our HTTP server could serve an actual file to the client. And we're making slow but steady progress on this. We're writing a file and cleaning it up. Now I want to make sure that I'm not sure where the test.done should fall here. I think it's actually supposed to fall here at the end. Now I want to make sure that it will actually clean up properly after itself when we fail in the middle. So that should fail. And it did fail. And now let's look to see. Yep, it looks like we cleaned up okay. And here, let's say just to make sure everything's okay there. And if we go to there and we touch test.html and then make it read-only and then run Jake, what happens? Yeah, permission denied. And that all looks pretty good. Permission denied here and here. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's good. So let's go ahead and clean this up. And then look at it. Yeah, everything's good. Okay, so we've got this writing a file and cleaning up properly after itself. Now I just want to bring in the rest of this stuff. So we're going to start the server. We're going to do our get. And we're going to verify that we got the appropriate text. Yeah, that's fairly straightforward. It's not quite right. Oh, and that failed. Why is that? Address in use. That's surprising. I'm assuming that we've got some sort of problem in our test where it's not shutting down the server like it's supposed to. I'm not sure though. What happens if we comment this out? Huh. How surprising. It's exact same code, and yet now we're getting this address in use error. I mean, it's not exactly the same, obviously, but it's close. So this fails. Why is that? Let's take a closer look. We're calling test.done here. But you know what? All of this finally stuff is in the wrong spot. Because this finally what's going to happen here is it's going to run write file sync. It's going to start the server, say http.get, and then it's going to say request.on, and it's going to pass this function in, and then it's going to run fs.onLink sync before we've had a chance to get a response, and then it's going to say that this test is done. And so it's going to move on. Node unit will move on to the next test before this one is really done. So I think rather than having this here, what we need to do is we need to have a teardown. Either we put this unlinked sync here, which we could do. In fact, let's start out doing that. Or we could create a teardown method. I think let's start out doing it this way. This is, increasingly ugly code, but again, we want to get it working first, and then we'll clean it up as we learn more. There we go. So that's working now just the way we want it to. And now let's make ourselves a test data. Bit of test data equals, and here we're going to expect that we're getting the data from a file. Yeah. Okay. So what's happening here is now we're writing this test data out to the file, and then we're asserting that we got that test data back. And of course, that's failing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this server returns hello world entirely, and let's just change the structure of the actual production code so that it no longer returns hello world, but instead does what we're doing here. And let's see if that works. Well, we'll need okay, and it's not finding it. Why not? Probably because it's called something else. Yes, it's called test.html. Okay, good. So obviously, we've got all kinds of issues with this code here, but it's looking promising. Now I think what I'd like it to do is to just pass in which file we want to serve. So let's just refactor to do that. That should still work. That should work. And now what I'm going to do is I'll write another little, let's see. Yeah, let's write a little test that says server requires file to serve. And we'll expect it to throw an error. Well, if we just call it with nothing. This is a bit, I'm taking a bit bigger of a step here than I really should be. So yeah, let's have the server now take the file to serve. And actually, let's call that the HTML file to serve. And that's going to cause all kinds of things to break. But that's all right. So we can just quickly go through and fix that up. I'm not sure why that's failing, to be honest. Some sort of issue with a file that was being held open or something. Probably because of all the errors I had. Oh, well, you know what's yeah. What's happening now is that when when this test fails, it's not cleaning up after itself anymore. So we do need to fix that. So playing really fast and loose this episode. I do that sometimes, but I'm never really happy with myself when I do. But as long as their tests are fast and you've got enough of them, you can generally recover. So, all right. So now we're telling which file to serve, which means you can take this out and still see everything work. Yes. And if we change the name of the file, it still works. Okay, that's good. Now we need to take care of the case where I want to get a proper cleanup here so that this code runs even if something happens to prevent that, even if something weird happens in our test. So let's make sure I can run that code. Okay, that looks like it's running like it's supposed to. Good. And this may fail. Let's see. Because of the way Node Unit works, it doesn't have its assertions in your setup and teardown. Okay, so there we go. This is failing because it's trying to unlink a file that doesn't exist. So we'll say we'll only try to unlink it if it does exist. If it does, we'll unlink it. And then assert that we could delete it like that. So kind of a hacky episode, but we are making progress. So that's it for this episode. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I will catch you next time.